Okay, so far, so good. Now let's create another event. In this event, we will make the balls to pop up and starts falling down. This entire event of popping up the ball and to fall will be handled by uh, one of the sensor that we have selected called clock. So it is a clock based event. The clock will handle this job of popping the balls randomly. So if we have 5 balls, out of 5, any one ball will pop up and the remaining balls will randomly pop up anywhere in the screen and will start falling down. So this event will be taken care by the clock. As you can see already, we have enabled the clock. You can see here whenever a screen was initialized, the first job that we have done is we have initialized the timer clock, and as soon as it is initialized it will start doing its job. So now let's create the clock event. To to do so, I'm going to drag the clock one timer event, and as soon as you launch your app, your screen will initialize, this event will take place. And now whenever this event will take place, I wanted that the clock should randomly select one ball and it should pop up in that screen and it should make that ball to fall. Okay, so to do so, the clock has to generate a random number first. So how it will generate a random number? It will generate a random number and it will store that value in a variable. So for what we have to do, we have to create a variable first. So let's create a variable, and I'm going to rename the variable as random. You can create a name random ball or something, any name you can keep, but name must be conventional. So I'm keeping the name random ball. Random ball. Let's keep the name random ball. So I have kept the name random ball. Okay, this is the variable. Name of the variable is random ball. The random ball. This variable can store either values, any number, or text also. But for this time being, uh, I will store number in this variable. So let's give a number that is called initializing it. So we will initialize with a number 1 because it cannot be 0, because I wanted that this timer to should select a random number between 1 and 5 because we have 5 balls. So if your clock or if your computer has generated a random number 1, then the first ball will pop up, and if it has selected 3 as a random number, then third ball will pop up. So the number that it will generate will be between 1 and 5. So we have initialized with 1, and now let's let this computer select the random number. To do so, I'm going to variable once more, and I will set the variable. This variable I will set, we will set the global random ball, and I will set this variable that will be equal to the random number or random integer that is selected between 1 and 5. So again, to do so, we can copy this block and we can paste it here, but this time the number we will select will be between 1 and 5. uh, this is one of the way that computer will generate a random number between 1 and 5, and to save that generated number into a variable called global random ball. Okay, so now so far we have generated a random number between 1 and 5 and have stored in a variable called random ball. Okay, now uh, this clock will take that number and we'll see what is the number. Is it 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5? If it is 1, it will show up the first balloon and it will make it 5. It is 3 or it is 5, then it will show off the fifth ball, and it will start making it fall. So the computer will do this job. Computer will do it, but we have to tell them to do. So to tell this, we need to use the control block that is called if else block. So this if else block will handle the job. If else block will keep checking what number the system has generated. Is it has it generated one or two or three or five? So every time it will check how many times or how frequent it will check. It will check after every 500 milliseconds, means after every half a second. How it is, how I came to know. I came to know while I had selected. You can go to the designer, and if you select the clock one, you can see the time interval there is 1000. You can make it 500. So 500 millisecond, right? So here we have set the 500 millisecond. After every 500 millisecond, your clock will repeat this block. Okay, the timer will repeat this block from top. This is what we have done here. And the next that we need to know is, you can see in the ball, you can see the ball property. In the ball we have set heading, and we have set interval. We will not consider here for time being, it's as it does not have too much impact. Interval sense, let me clearly explain also, it will be good for you. 100 millisecond, its interval at 100 millisecond, means in 100 millisecond it will travel to 1 pixel forward, 1 pixel forward. So imagine we have a speed, we have given how much, 20 pixels. So in order to complete 20 pixels, you multiply 20 into 100, it will become 2000. So in 2 seconds it will complete this 20 pixels. So this is what the meaning is, and this is what the idea is. I was talking about, you see the ball property, the ball one property. Here we have uh, not enabled it. For time being we have disabled it. You must check it. There is a checkbox. If you check it, it becomes enabled. If I uncheck, it becomes disabled. So I have disabled it. One more thing you can see, there visibility. There is a checkbox for visibility. If I click visible, if I check it, the ball has become visible. If I uncheck, it has become invisible. So two things from here you can see. From the in the property side, we have disabled it and we have made it invisible. Okay, we will do the same thing through the coding, so we are not doing it here. Now let's come back to the code section, and let's give the condition that if system has generated one as random number, then what to do. For that, let's go to math block, and from the math block we will compare this. We will compare that what system has generated. So in order to do so, let's check in the variable what number it has generated. For that, I will get the number, will get the random ball number, what the number it has generated, and I will compare that if it has generated 1, then what to do. So if it has generated 1, then we will sew up the first balloon, and we will make that balloon to fall, because already we have set its speed. We have set its speed, only we have to enable it, and we have to make it visible, these two things. So in order to make the ball one visible, what we'll do, we will drag one of the block from here. Let's drag one of the ball. So you can see the ball one dot interval, ball one dot enable. So what we'll do, we will enable the ball one. So we'll enable the ball one, we'll write it true. So in order to get the true, we'll go to logic, and we will drag that block, true block. Okay, now we have enabled the ball, and I will set the ball to you can see, I will ball one, it will become visible because we have not made it visible. Okay, so there is a speed, instead of a speed it should be visible. Okay, so we have to make it true. So now whenever the computer will select 1 as a random number, then your ball 1 will become visible and it will become enabled. So you will start seeing it, that ball has started falling. Likewise, we will copy this block and we'll paste below, and here we'll make change that if the random number that it has generated, if it is equal to 2, then what should happen? In that case, ball 2 should pop up. Okay, in that case the ball 2 should pop up. This is what I wanted, as well as ball 2 should be enabled and it should be visible. This is what I wanted. And likewise, we need to write for ball 3 and ball 4 and ball 5. So here for time being we have only two if conditions. I wanted to increase two more, so for that I will click on this setting button and it will give me option to add it further. So you can see I will just add one more else if and one more else if. So I think there's supposed to be three else if. So 1 2 3 and 4, yeah, that is done. So next we will do right for ball 3. So suppose if number 3 is generated as a random number, then what to do? Then let the ball 3 pop up in the screen and let the ball 3 starts falling down. So we have enabled it and we have made it visible. So we will it will look like the ball 3 has started falling down. Similarly, you can do with ball 4. Okay, ball 4. That's ball 4. So let ball 4 become enable as well as let it become visible. And now, if your computer has not generated 1, nor 2, nor 3, nor 4, then I think it would have surely generated 5. So if it had generated 5 as a random number, in that case, let the fifth ball, become enable and let it start falling down. This is what I wanted. So in that case, this is for ball 4 and this is for ball 5. Okay, so we have completed this for all the balls. Let me explain once more. This is the event in which the balls will become visible and it will start falling down. Okay, this is done through a special component called clock sensor or clock timer. So after every 500 milliseconds, your your mobile, or you can say your computer, will generate a random number between 1 and 5, and it will check what number it has generated. If it had generated 1 as random number, the first balloon will become enable and it will start falling down. And if it is generated 2, then the second ball, right, likewise it will do. So this was the part 1 of our gaming app, where uh, firstly we have set its speed, as well as we have told them that as soon as I initialize the screen, then where these balls and paddles should sit. This is we have done through this long code. And the second is that when acceleration dot changed, whenever you tilt your phone, the paddle supposed to move. This is what we have done through this block. And the third one is we have, through this block or timer block, we have made the ball to pop up and starts falling down. Okay, that's good. Now we will cover the second part of this project in the next tutorial. See you later in the next tutorial.